This
Hi,
conference
everybody.
will
It's
now
Tammy de
be
Leeuw
recorded.
here. I want to thank everybody that came to this impromptu meeting today. Hopefully you see my screen. I'm not sure if it's showing there, but I'll look again. Let's see. So I'm on air and I'm sharing screen, so I think everything's okay now. Had a little bit of internet connectivity issue, but I do want to thank everyone who took time out of their busy day to come to this mastermind. That's what I'm calling it, for lack of a better word. I wanted to get together with some of you financial advisors, senior advisors, CPAs, tax people, anyone that works with retirees or those who are about to retire. This meeting is for you, and it's kind of the culmination of the time I've spent the last few days I've spent in Texas, um, dealing with my elderly parents. And there's nothing, as I've said before, like a life event that really hammers home some of the lessons that we as financial services people are supposed to know, right? We're supposed to know that, as they say on Zero Hedge, on a long enough timeline, everybody's chances of getting out of here alive are zero, right? We all know that's where we're headed. We don't like to talk about it in this country. A lot of people would tell you about all the really weird and kinky things they do in their private lives, but they won't talk to you about the certainty of death. And I think that's partly due to how we perceive it as a Western culture. You could read myriad books on the subject, and I do walk away from most of them with the feeling that we just don't understand how to explain the end of life. We don't incorporate it into the cycle. So, as financial professionals, we have a really unique opportunity to help people prepare for lots of things. We were good at doing things like preparing them for college, preparing people to get rid of their debt, preparing people for transitioning from accumulation into other phases of their financial life. We're pretty good about talking about those things. But what we often don't talk about is the harsh realities of getting older in America, actually anywhere in the world, but especially in America, because we have certain perhaps unrealistic expectations of what it means to grow old here. And we also believe, when you're in your body now and you can move around, and you can feed yourself, and you can do all those wonderful so-called activities of daily living, right? All those things. It's hard to imagine that a day may come when you cannot do that. And it doesn't have to be even in old age. I mean, you could be in your 50s, you could have a stroke, an aneurysm, you could fall, you could be in an accident, and those things would suddenly become very, very difficult to do. So I'm just going to share with you from the heart what I've learned over the past few days, and hopefully it translates to some very good marketing initiatives for you as a financial services person, for you as an agent, an advisor, an estate planner, whatever it is that you do, whatever it is that you bring that's unique into this mix. Now's the time to maybe refocus your efforts. I'm not going to say that you can't teach an old dog new tricks, because I'm getting there too. I still believe I can learn. Most seniors are very open to the idea of learning. It's not that. What I am saying is that maybe the target market for a lot of our services is actually going to be the 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 sons, the daughters, the granddaughters, the grandsons of these people. And I know a lot of people have talked about doing this before, and I've had some advisors telling me, yeah, I try to talk to their family, when I'm in there talking about final expenses, try to have the whole family in there. But I think it should be more of a concerted effort, because I'm going to tell you, in my own case, this has been an enormous, I can't begin to even put it in words. It has been a stressful, financially challenging, emotionally devastating time, because my mother, who's almost 83, is has had a series of health issues. Now, I mean, a lot of our health issues, we got to admit it. I mean, it's the way we live. It's our lifestyle. It's choices we made when we were younger that are catching up to us, because your body doesn't forget what you do to it when you're younger most of the time. So in my case, it's been a really harsh eye awakening event to see someone you love decline, and decline rather rapidly, and be unable to do things that a year ago they could do, or even 6 months ago, to have to be totally dependent on other people, and to basically be sitting there waiting to die. And I know, as the daughter, that's not how I want my life to go. And I'm thinking most people don't. But again, it's just like you tell your clients about retirement. Nobody wants to be broke in retirement, but nobody does the necessary heavy lifting and planning they need to do to ensure that doesn't happen, right? So I'm thinking that, I'm not saying you should take advantage of people's emotional vulnerability, but I am sure that my nieces and nephews, the grandchildren, were probably thinking the same thing I was thinking, which is, I don't want to go this way. What can be done? What kind of planning can I do? Is end of life planning perhaps an avenue for some of you to do some of the other things that you do so wonderfully, like help people with their life insurance needs, help people with their risk management for their business, help people protect their assets from unnecessary taxes, all the things that you do. Any one of those services, I'm betting that when people are experiencing this, they're going through it, they've just had a loved one pass, they put granny in a nursing home, whatever it is, they are more open than they will ever be at any point to your message. So I guess I wanted to meet with you guys and say, look, your marketing should be reflecting that. I mean, a lot of people tell me, oh, I only market to people 55 and older with X number of dollars in the bank and blah, blah, blah. I think you're missing the boat. I think what you could do right now is provide some services, provide some resources for people whose loved ones are going through this, and they're watching this and they're thinking, oh my gosh, don't let this happen to me. Okay, so where would you start with something like that? And I'm gonna call on a couple of people that are here with me today. Thank you. And ask them what they think. But I mean, I'm thinking something as inexpensive for you, at least, and as worthwhile is directives, right? All the paperwork, the directives. What do you want to happen if you can't, you have a do not resuscitate on file? What do you want to happen when you die? Do you have a will, a basic will? Do you need a trust? I have one advisor friend in California, in Southern California, who does really nice, inexpensive, basic trusts for people. And through that, he's able to look at other things in their financial portfolio and make suggestions, other products they may need. They might need whole life insurance. They might need, term insurance, and they might need investment advice. So he's able, because he's entering in with something he's giving them, which is a greatly reduced in price. I mean, if you went to an attorney and got the same kind of trust done, it would cost you probably 5 times what he's charging for it. So this is an entry point. This is, people who are coming to these seminars are people who, almost all of them, are dealing with caring for an elderly loved one. They are dealing with dad just passed, he didn't have a will, it was a mess, uncle just passed, kids are fighting, and they just don't want that. So they're open, and they're open-minded. So you provide them a service that's valuable to them. Maybe all you do is give them a list of resources in their town for these kind of services. Or you partner with an attorney and you say, listen, John, I know you don't do financial services, but you do estate planning. So why don't we partner together and see if we can create a package for people in our local area that will help them, okay? There's partnerships with funeral homes. I think financial advisors should go to funeral homes. It's a very intense business. It's a very competitive business, believe it or not. I mean, these corporations are buying up these smaller funeral homes right and left. So if you can find an independent funeral home that's still around in your area, maybe go talk to that director and sit down and go, look, we are not really competitors. We are both people in this community that want to help people move out of this life as easily as possible with this less, the less amount of pain that's possible. You know, there's so much emotion that goes around with these types of events. Like my mother being in the hospital and almost dying, and she's come back home, and hospice is coming, and all those things are happening, and you're just like raw emotionally, so you don't make good decisions. That's when an advisor can step up to the plate and not have an agenda. You know, not even have an agenda other than, this is Sally, she lives in the same town I do, and she needs help. That's all I'm saying. There's other practical things that I think you can do with nothing. Again, you're not doing this so that, oh, all right, you know, in 6 months I can sit down and have this great appointment and sell them a big annuity. I'm hoping that's not why you're doing this. I'm hoping you're doing it because you see that if you give and you give back to your local community, you're going to get a reputation for being a good guy or gal. And it's going to be so easy to get referrals after that because everyone will know you. And if you don't think it works, talk to some people that have done this and they'll tell you, yeah, this works a lot. So you're not showing up at funerals like some lawyer, like ambulance chasing lawyer, passing out cards, right? You're not doing that. What you're doing is partnering with groups, and I think this is the first place to start, is partner with some groups that, like hospice or whatever, groups that are already doing this, right? There are, for example, businesses and organizations that help families clear out their loved ones' belongings and either donate them or put them in an estate sale or whatever. Those would be good people to partner with, I think, because they can say, oh, you know, this family is just distraught. They need somebody to help them sort out grandma's insurance policies, review mortgages, whatever, review reverse mortgages. I mean, that's the thing. Most of us don't know much about those. I know my parents have one. I was surprised to learn this. And I don't know how it works. And I don't know what options people have if they're heirs. You know, I don't know any of this stuff. So I think that would be good. Workshops, and these can be done online. I have done these for advisors before, where we make a canned workshop, we put it on Eventbrite, we just continuously invite people to it. And you will get some lead generation that way, no doubt. You'll also have some great content that you can point to. You can, you know, when you meet somebody, you can say, look, I don't have time to explain this to you now, but here's a link to my presentation that tells you all the steps you need to do. I know that there is a checklist that exists out there. There are literally hundreds of things people need to do when they're dying or when they've died or when they're moving into that hospice part of their life. So be useful, okay? I mean, I remember my grandmother always said, don't get in my way if you're going to help me in the fields. You know, I used to love to go to her garden and help her, but she said, don't get in my way, make yourself useful. So I think that's the first rule of marketing to me. It's not, how can I sell tons of crap? If you're in this business for just because you want to get to MDRT or whatever it is you're gunning for, this is a people business first and foremost. Go, I don't know, go sell widgets or ice cream or something, because if you're in it solely for the bottom line, you're going to be not guiding and being a leader for your clients, and that's what you should be, right? You should be a leader. So I'm standing back up again, and I'm seeing all my friends that are here with me. Oh, you know, I think I've pretty much, I don't know if I want to unmute everybody and let everybody start shouting, but I've got some emails from different advisors that I can share with you right now. Sorry about the, I'm in Texas, actually, and the weather's kind of overcast and humid, and so my sinuses are going nuts here. Whoops. Hopefully I didn't. Okay, so let's look at some practical action steps you can take if you want to. I'm not saying you should move your niche out of seniors, but let's move that into pre-retirees and focus on families that have some needs, right? So what are some of the things that people who are in this situation need? What do they need? They need companionship. They need resources. They need a list of, for example, Do you know the best caregivers in town? Have you got an inside scoop on that? Maybe you yourself have had issues with an elderly parent or grandparent, and you know which company provides the best service, which companies are the most affordable. Well, you could start accumulating this information and put it into a report. Like if you live, put the Poughkeepsie Guide to Senior Services, and it could have everything in it that they might need. You might have a report that tells them, okay, how do I qualify for what's called Medi-Medi? How do I qualify? What thresholds are there? Can I still have my home and qualify for Medicaid? That might be something you want to explore. Articles, posts, podcast even saying, okay, we don't want to talk about death, but we're going to talk about death, right? We're going to talk about what it goes on when a person passes, what has to happen, who needs to do what. You could help your clients develop a family emergency plan, or if someone in their family passes away, this needs to be done. Here's where grandma's important documents are located. We have copies of those. Here are where the keys to the vault is located. Here is this, that, and the other. In other words, get them organized and have an emergency plan so that everyone that's participating will know exactly what they need to do when they need to do it. I think that would be something you could do. So this is just coming off the top of my head, things that I could have used, maybe even on this trip. For example, something more personal too. You could create, you could have printed, make a really nice little book for them to put all this information in, and maybe one section would be that you talked to mom. What do you want us to dress you in when you pass? I mean, it sounds morbid, but please understand these things can be comforting to someone who's going through this. So what color, you have your blue dress that you wear to church. You want that one? Yes, I want that one. I want makeup, no makeup. I want someone to do my hair. I want to put my class ring in the casket with me. I mean, just little things like that where you've sat down and talked to that person and gotten their wishes, right? Because it makes it so much more personal, and maybe have a nurse come with you and talk to you about what happens physically as a person begins to decay and decline and leave this mortal coil behind, right? So what happens? What should you be prepared for? What if you're in the hospital room and something happens, a certain buzzer goes off, or this happens, or that happens? Do you know what to do? Those things should be discussed, right? Because I had buzzers and stuff going off all over the place in the hospital, and I had no clue. Is that worthy of a nurse call? Do I need the doctor for that? The nurse. What do I do? Do I disconnect something? Do I push a button? Don't know. So I'm not saying you become a physician, but you need to know some basic things. This is what mom's hooked up to. This is her IV drip. This is the medicine she's getting, blah, blah, blah. This may have this side effect. She may wake up at 2 a.m. crying. You need to know those things, right? So as an advisor or an agent, or however you fit into the financial services picture, you have so much power to bring stuff to them. You can talk to, when you're with the family and you're hearing their stories and they're telling you, oh, how horrible it is, and they don't want that to happen to them. You can say, look, I know you're going through a bad time now. Let's get you through this. And then you and I need to talk about steps you can take right now while you're young to avoid some of these things, right? Can't avoid the big D, but you can avoid some of the other stuff that happens because you haven't planned, right? So I would say you should do that. And the other thing that you should do is maybe start developing your expertise in end of life planning. If you don't really know much about it, now's the time to do it. Now's a great time to go out there, talk to other professionals that are doing it, go visit with people who do this day in and day out and learn some things, discover some things, see how what they're doing meshes with what you can do for clients. Right? Don't ever look at other agents or advisors as competitors. Look at them as colleagues. they're colleagues in the same struggle, right? Which is to get people's heads out of the sand and thinking about the inevitable, thinking about taxes, thinking about death, thinking about leaving a legacy, thinking about protecting their assets from incursions of all sorts, right? I mean, it's a very tumultuous time we live in. And I think dying during this time has to be twice as hard too, because there's so much uncertainty. Okay, so now you got to grab onto something that's certain, which is death and dying, right? And you are going to do whatever it takes. If the family needs counseling, you should have a Rolodex with people. No, that's old school, I know. You should have a digital Rolodex with the names and contact information of counselors. You should be able to direct them to online services that can help. Free grief counseling exists in a lot of places. All those things can be so useful, and they're going to see you in a different light. They're not going to see you as somebody that's hawking insurance. They're going to start seeing you as a trusted member of their extended family. And that is what you should be. Advisors who have positioned themselves that way never come to me going, I need more people to talk to. They have plenty of people. They have a database of responsive people. So that's my little speech. I mean, I hope I gave you some ideas. Again, free reports on that subject matter, articles. If you're writing for annuity.com or you're writing for my new blog, which is called Safe Money Trends. And if you want to write for Safe Money Trends, you need to reach out to me via email or make an appointment on my Calendly, and we'll talk about how you can do that, how you can contribute content to safemoneytrends.com. So if you go to safemoneytrends.com, you will see the website. Also, I have put up a Safe Money Trends YouTube channel. It's brand new. It's not even a month old yet. It's just starting to get some traction. But if you have a video that deals with some issue and you do a really good job of it and you want a place to put it, again, reach out to me and I will review your video. And if it meets our guidelines, then you can post it there for free. I'm not going to charge you anything to do that. If you want me to write content for you, be it an email sequence, be it an article that goes on annuity.com or Safe Money Trends or wherever else you want to put it, maybe your own website, right? Reach out to me and we'll talk about that. Everything I do and everything you do should be customized and customizable, flexible. You should be able to pivot at a moment's notice and change the focus that you're doing in your marketing. And so if I can help you do that in any way, please call my office number. I will be back in Texas soon, or back in California soon. It's area code 951-658-0492. Again, 951-658-0492. So I want to thank the people that did join me for this little, I don't know what you call it, live event, live feed, whatever, live stream, whatever you want to call it. Stream of consciousness. I want to thank you for that. I want you again to walk away with just a couple of things from this, is that focus on something that will always be needed and you won't be looking for clients. Focus on counseling people at the end of their life, counseling their loved ones and making their transition much, much easier. Focus on that. Make your marketing skew that way and see if that doesn't bring you a whole new generation of people, people that are more open-minded, people that have seen what happens when you don't plan for long-term care, when you don't plan for legacies, when you don't plan for anything. You see what happens. You've seen it. You can tell stories. You can go on, if you want to come on my podcast, which is called Safe Space with Tammy D. Let me know. Tell me what you talk about. Tell me what your expertise is. And I will be glad to talk to you about being a guest. Again, we're all in this. Ultimately, we're all going to the same place. We're all in it together. And we should work together and share ideas. So if you're interested in coming on and doing a mastermind again, please let me know. I appreciate each and every one of you that is out there in the field every day trying to help people get their acts together. I certainly could have used you 20 years ago, but you know, it's better to do it now than not at all. So thanks very much, and I will catch you soon. Again, go to www.safemoneytrends.com or even my own website, which sadly I do not keep up too well with, is yourmarketingtherapist.com. Again, yourmarketingtherapist.com. Thanks very much and have a great day.